Welcome. I'm Leslie Canham.
I'm Mary Gavoni.
I'm Linda Harvey.
I'm Olivia Wan, and together we are the Compliance Divas.
Hello, and welcome to the Compliance Divas podcast. I'm Mary Gavoni, and I'll be the moderator for this episode. And this is a very special episode to all of the divas. Remember that the Compliance Divas navigate the regulatory world to bring clarity to compliance for our dental practice listeners. You can subscribe to the Compliance Divas podcast through your favorite podcast channel or on our website, thecompliancedivas.com. Any resources that we mentioned during this episode can be found on the Compliance Divas website or on the show notes in your favorite podcast app. You can also submit questions by email to support@thecompliancedivas.com. So I mentioned earlier that this is a special episode for several reasons. First of all, we are celebrating this month DICAM, or Dental Infection Control Awareness Month, and dental assistants are very much a part of, and in many cases, the infection control coordinator in practices. And we're also, because we have two special celebrities with us from the Dental Assisting National Board, we're going to talk about infection prevention and control roles for dental assistants and credentialing, and we're celebrating the fact that DANB, as we call it, the Dental Assisting National Board, has now been in existence for 75 years. So they have a long history of certifying dental assistants in infection control and radiography and general chairside, and so we'll talk about some of those. So let me introduce our first guest, who is Laura Skarnulis, who is the DANB Executive Director. Laura is the Chief Executive Officer of DANB and the Dale Foundation, which is the educational arm of DANB, a role that she has held since 2021. She spearheaded the development of the organization's 2023 to 2028 strategic plan, which centers on supporting dental assistant workforce development and elevating the profession. Laura came to DANB and the Dale Foundation after serving for more than 8 years as the Chief Operating Officer, or COO, of the American Board of Medical Specialties, an organization that establishes the certification and continuing certification of certification standards for its 24-member boards. Prior to that, Laura was the Chief Operating and Financial Officer for the United Way of Metropolitan Chicago. Laura has a Bachelor of Science degree in accountancy from Northern Illinois University and is a CPA. Wow, what a wealth of experience that you bring to DANB. Welcome, and welcome to the podcast, Laura.
Mary, thank you so much for having me, and it is my absolute pleasure to be here today with you.
Yay! And our next guest is Gwen, or Guinevere Juckett. I love your name, Gwen. I shared earlier that I had a babysitter who was my favorite babysitter of all time when I was a young girl, and her name was Guinevere, and we called her Gwenny. And so you make me think of that very fond memory. So Gwen has a very long list of credentials through DANB and through ADOM. She's a fellow of ADOM, and she is a fellow of the American Dental Assistants Association. She's been a Dale Foundation board member of the Board of Trustees since 2016 and is currently the immediate past president of the Dale board. Gwen started her career in 1990 and has had a passion for dentistry ever since. She works for a private dental practice in Middlefield, Ohio as an expanded function dental auxiliary, or an EFTA, and the dental office manager, as if you don't have enough to do. Gwen earned DANB's CDA credential in 1996 and holds, as I mentioned earlier, several other credentials, and we'll put all of those credential definitions in our resources because I think there may be many listeners interested in those. She is a member of the Ohio EFTA Association, the American Dental Assistants Association, American Association of Dental Office Managers, and OSAP. Yay, Gwen. And she is a graduate of an EFTA program at Case Western University in Cleveland. She's a registered dental assistant in the state of Ohio as an EFTA and a believer in lifelong learning, and has completed her clinical fellowship with ADAA and ADAM. So welcome, Gwen.
Thank you so much, Mary. I'm so excited to be here with all of you.
Oh, fabulous. Well, let's get started. We have lots of questions we want to ask both Laura and Gwen about DANB, and we're going to start with Olivia, and she's going to talk a little bit about credentialing.
Welcome, ladies. We're so happy to have you. Laura, this is the first time that I remember seeing dental assistants and being in the highest demand ever. So it's really some exciting times to see this profession grow and to finally get the respect that it's so well deserving of. But Laura, would you tell our listeners about DANB and also the certifications that are available for dental assistants?
Yes, I'm happy to. And I agree. I feel like dental assisting is having a bit of a moment right now. And we're really excited about that. And we're here to support and elevate that as much as we can. So the Dental Assisting National Board, or DANB, is the National Exam and Certification Board for Dental Assistants. It is recognized by the ADA as the certification body for dental assistants. And we offer a variety of exams and certification for dental assisting at all stages of their career. Many dental assistants, as you well know, start with taking the radiation health and safety exam. And it's recognized and required in many states. In fact, 38 states plus DC either recognize or require DANB's exams or certifications. And we can talk a little bit more about that later. But the RHS exam, the Radiation Health and Safety exam, is really the entry point. And in 2022, we administered over 12,000 RHS exams. So that's quite a number. And again, the demand for dental assistants continues to drive those numbers. There's a lot of places that people can start or finish related to dental assisting. People can become a certified dental assistant, which is what we are recognizing with and celebrating, which has been in existence for 75 years. This certified dental assistant is a very esteemed credential. We also offer a certified orthodontic assistant, as well as other expanded functions related to restorative or preventative functions. We are most excited about our recent additions to our certification offerings in infection control. And in collaboration with OSAP, we launched last year the CDIPC and the DISIPC. So those are certifications in infection control and prevention for either clinicians or non-clinicians. And last year we offered, we had issued, 270 of those certifications since it started. And a little spoiler alert, we're going to have an opportunity for a lot more people to become certified next year as we are putting the final touches on some scholarship opportunities to come. So really excited about that. So there's lots of opportunities for people to expand their knowledge base and get certified. And we have more work to come on that, which I'll share a little bit more later as well.
Thank you, Laura. It's very impressive with those statistics. And it's just a great feeling to know that this career is in demand. I was a dental assistant many years ago, and it's just exciting to see that we're finally getting the recognition that was so well deserved. And I'm also excited about the expanded duties dental assistant. They are in demand everywhere.
Absolutely.
And so it's a great certification. And also the fact for infection control, it's so needed. And, like any profession, Laura, I mean, there are those that just get a job, but then there are those that make a career out of this. And I think DANB is the pathway for those individuals that want to truly be a professional and they need those designations.
Yeah,
Back to you.
I agree. If I could just expand on that for a quick second, that I have to say that being with DANB for the last 2 years, I have been absolutely blown away by the level of commitment and passion that the certified dental assistants and dental assistants in general, but in particular, the certified dental assistants have for their patients, have for the practices, and have for each other. It's really quite remarkable.
It is. Thank you. Thank you, Laura. And one of the things, and maybe you can touch on briefly some of your activities related to this. One of the things that we're seeing so much in the news is this emphasis on changing regulations and so forth to enhance the dental workplace. And I see dentistry and I see dental hygiene involved in that. Is DANB involved at all with bringing the dental assistant component to that? That concerns me a lot because dental assistants aren't even mentioned in many of those activities.
Yeah, and a lot of times they're not mentioned because they're not actually licensed in most states, right? So the dental boards and the dental societies are primarily focused on the dentists and the hygienists, and they have their own priorities, but we are a dental team, right? And so, the advocacy bodies that the hygienists and the dentists have, we're actually talking with them and working with them to really be promoting the entire dental team, including dental assistants. And, dental assistants represent the majority of the dental team. Over 380,000 dental assistants in practice today, and making sure that their voices are heard. Just this past year, we spent some time in a state that was looking to significantly impact the trajectory of the dental assisting profession with some not very favorable bills towards dental assistants or to patient safety. And we really were successful in that effort because dental assistants came out and they advocated for themselves. And other members of the dental team were advocating for the importance of dental assistants, not only about the outcome of those bills, but the dental assistants being around the table and being part of the discussions about their profession. And that's what we're about. That's what we're going to be continuing to work on. We have a really great new strategic plan, as you mentioned, and a big portion of that is talking about what is needed for the profession throughout all the states, as well as championing the profession and getting people to advocate for dental assistants, being a conduit for that. We're not going to be the advocates for dental assistants. Dental assistants are going to be the advocates for dental assistants, and creating that sense of community and opportunity is something that's very much on our roadmap right now.
Thank you, Laura. That's great information. Linda, we're going to switch gears with you and Gwen now and talk about the Dale Foundation.
Absolutely, Mary. And I would just like to welcome our guests as well. I'm excited to celebrate the 75th anniversary. As the only diva with the least dental assisting experience before I went into hygiene school, I just have long felt that dental assistants are the backbone of any practice and they're the best kept secrets. So we're thrilled to help champion them in this podcast. Gwen, I'd like to ask you a question. So we just heard all about DANB, but can you also share with our listeners what the Dale Foundation is and some of its important functions, please?
Yes, Linda. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to tell you about the Dale Foundation. The Dale Foundation is the official DANB affiliate dedicated to online education, certificate programs, and other initiatives such as scholarships and research. We offer a variety of educational materials to help dental assistants and other dental team members advance their education and reach their career goals. I do want to add, in September, in honor of Dental Infection Control Awareness Month, we are having a special offer of 20% off of all of our infection control education, including continuing education articles, the Dental Infection Control Certificate Program that we developed with OSAP, and exam preparations for DANB's infection control exam. please visit our website at dalefoundation.org to learn more. I invite everybody to go through our website, see our catalog, see all of our offerings. They are robust, and there is something for everybody there.
Thank you, Gwen. That's really helpful. And for our listeners, that 20% off may make a big difference to them in terms of infection control education and other types of dental assisting education, and perhaps to get their CDIPC credential. So Leslie, we're going to call on you. You and I have been certified for many, many, many years. And so I'd like you and Gwen to kind of discuss between the two of you why you became a CDA, and you and Gwen have also completed the credentialing process for CDIPC. So can you share some of your experiences, Leslie, and then we'll have Gwen chime in as well.
Well, Mary, yes, I have a number of years of experience in dentistry. I'm actually going on 51 years as a dental professional. And in 1977, I became a registered dental assistant in California. But in 2005, I was asked by the Dental Assisting National Board to assist with writing some of the infection control questions for the infection control examination. And in order to do that, I needed to also obtain my CDA, which I was so glad to become a certified dental assistant. So I'm a registered dental assistant, but a certified dental assistant is recognized all over the country, whereas a registered dental assistant, I'm only recognized in California for that. So I've been a CDA for 17 years now, and it has been a great experience. It's easy to keep my licensure up with the many different continuing education resources that are available, and I was so excited to be among the first to get the the Certified in Dental Infection Prevention and Control certificate. I did not know that there was only 270 of us. I include that designation on all of my information, so I have all these acronyms after my name, but I also include the designation and the potential of becoming certified in dental infection control and prevention whenever I talk about infection control, and recommend that someone from a dental practice take that step to become certified. I heard once from the Dental Assisting National Board that the responsibility for infection control falls usually on the shoulders of at least one dental assistant in the practice. And I believe that was a result of a study that was conducted. So with that being the case, certainly anyone who would want to assume that role, or who is in that role, can rely on DANB for all the education and resources that they would need in order to fulfill that educational part of knowing what to do as a certified dental assistant or as a person who's in charge of infection control.
Thank you, Leslie. Gwen, is there anything that you would like to add to what Leslie has shared about the value of the credential and also the infection control certification?
Absolutely. Leslie, I'm a lot like you. I got my CDA because I needed it to advance in my career. So I have been a CDA for 26 years. It was a requirement to become an EFTA in my state. It has also given me the confidence, the skills, and the knowledge to know that I could have done anything in dentistry if I just put my mind to it. It was the first of many steps taken to get me where I am today, and I am forever grateful. In my state, I have my coronal polish, I have my fluoride certificates. Again, I am an AFDA, but I live really close to the border of Pennsylvania, and I grew up and I have family in Rhode Island and Massachusetts. I chose the CDA route of certification, also earning my CPFDA and my CRFDA, because first of all, it keeps my options open. If I move out of Ohio, I want to be able to easily continue my work. Secondly, it's a commitment to my profession and an investment in myself as I do yearly continuing education and research on these topics. I, too, was one of the first of many to get my certification in dental infection prevention and control. For me, it's a milestone in my career. It gives me a sense of pride and commitment. You know, 33 years ago, I was chairside trained by a wonderful doctor who taught me so much about dentistry. But what he did not teach me was infection control. And as a young chairside trained dental assistant, you really don't know what you don't know. In the years past, I educated myself and I learned just how important infection control is. I will say the CDIPC, it is a rigorous exam on important infection control elements, and I am so grateful that I passed it. I also learned from it. You know, I've incorporated like a detailed waterline safety protocol in my practice. Can you believe it's not required in my state? And I've also incorporated so many other things that promote, above all, patient safety, but also team safety, the safety of myself, and it protects my practice. So for me, the CDIPC, it was that extra step that I took that meant so much to me. And I have it on everything. I have it on my website. I have it on all of my social media. I have it on everything. So I'm so proud of it. So congratulations to you too.
Mary, I would like to ask Gwen a question, because you and she both mentioned the initials CDICP. And while I know what it is, and Leslie knows what it is, we all know what the Divas know. I would like to just enlighten our audience, in case they're not familiar with those credentials, what it is, because it was something that's not new. It's been around 5-ish years, maybe. I don't know. It's been around in the works for a few years. But Laura, Gwen, could you tell our listeners what that stands for?
CDIPC is certified in dental infection prevention and control. And then there is a dental industry specialist, DISIPC, and that's dental industry specialist in infection prevention and control. So the CDIPC is more the clinical aspect, and the DISIPC would be more, you know, your office management, your non-clinical team members, maybe your sales reps. Laura, do you have anything to add to that?
No, you've got it perfectly right. And the other thing, you're right, Linda, it has been in the works for several years in conjunction with OSAP and actually with the CDC. And the certifications were officially launched just recently. And actually the first exams were administered in 2021, and 2022 was our first launch of it. So it's in its infancy right now for being widely known, but we look forward to it growing exponentially in the next several years.
Fabulous. Thank you, everyone. And full disclosure, I am working on my certification. I was part of the committee that helped to write the course, the online course. And with the pandemic and everything else going on, I just have not set aside the time to do that. But it is a primary goal for me to hopefully do that by the end of this year. As I mentioned offline to the Divas and to Laura and Gwen, I just got my badge for 44 years of certification with DANB. I started out as an office trained assistant and went to a weekend dental assisting program in Michigan where I lived at the time, and was so proud to take and to pass that CDA exam, and then went on to become a registered dental assistant in Michigan as well. And even though I don't work clinically any longer, I will never let that credential lapse, because it means so much to me. Just as Gwen said, it represents experience and study and a commitment to excellence, and it's the badge of honor. And so I'm so excited. I'm going to put my badge on my website this week. The one thing, and we touched on it a little bit earlier with Laura about activities around dental assisting and dental boards and regulations. The one wish that I have for this profession is that the CDA credential or some common credential be an entry level requirement for someone to be able to work as a dental assistant. Of course, that means working with every state dental board, and there's some resistance to that on the part of dentistry, but it certainly may help with longevity. I remember a number of years ago that I believe it was DANB that did a study on longevity that said that those dental assistants that had a CDA credential stayed in the profession significantly longer than those that did not, because they viewed it as a profession and not just as a job. It's one of those things that I hope before I go to the great beyond that we see that happen, because the comparative professions, not really so comparative, but you look at the fact that I can't set up a business and be a nail technician or a hairdresser, or I can't work in a veterinary clinic without some kind of certification or a license. So why do we allow dental assistants to be taking radiographs, be in charge of infection prevention and control and so forth without some type of credentialing? So Laura, I'd love for you to weigh in on that.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy to, and we share your desire to have a national, if you will, standard. And as do many people, we brought together stakeholders from over 20 organizations in July of 2022 to talk about the future of dental assisting in the dental team and oral health care. And the prevailing initiative that came out of there was, can we work towards some sort of national standard? We had dental boards in the room, we had the ADA in the room, we had hygienists in the room, the dental service organizations, all sorts of groups were represented. So actually that was a really an important input piece to our strategic planning and our future planning for what we need to be doing as an organization for the profession. And as a result, we are looking to launch an updated, new, if you will, professional model in the coming years. But it's going to take us a while to get there because of what exactly you said. We need to be working with the state dental boards. We need to be working with all facets of the dental team. You know, it's not easy for the states to say, okay, we're going to have be able to navigate and manage all of this when you have so many dental assistants in the profession. So that is the beauty of a national professional model, if you will. If we can develop something, and I'm confident we can, because we already have the baseline for the certification that is recognized, as I said, in so many states, or our exams are recognized in so many states. It's quality. So we need to make sure that we are developing something by the profession that includes all aspects of the dental team and employers and those that are sitting on state dental boards, to create a model that provides flexibility, that provides quality, that provides assurance, that provides portability. But my dream and I guess, I don't know if it's Pollyanna or not, that we have something that people can enter into and make their way through the system, if you will, through the certification process, and branch out in any way they want to go. If you want to be in orthodontics, if you want to be in a community health center, if you want to be a chairside dental assistant, if you want to be an office manager, that there are paths and options available that a state can look at and say, that's exactly what we need. And so we're going to adopt that as opposed to creating anything on our own. It meets our standards. And hopefully the dental practice acts across the state will adopt this because they've had input into it, and they'll see it as a value for their state and their needs as well. We recognize there's a workforce shortage. We absolutely, and there has been one, but it's absolutely exacerbated right now, especially because so many dental assistants, certified dental assistants that we've surveyed recently, are planning to retire. So we need to build that pipeline back in, and we need to give credit for things that people are already doing towards our certification. We need to increase the number of people not only certified, but those that are interested in coming into dentistry and oral health care alone. It's the entry point into it. So we have many things underway currently with high schools and with high school groups and career tech centers and lots of educational programming. We are looking forward to the future to build that pipeline and really bring something forward for the entire profession, for states and their dental boards to adopt. And we're excited about it.
Me too. And I'm sure I speak for the rest of the divas as well. I know, and I'm sure you are aware that the American Dental Assistants Association looked at that all the way back in the early 1990s, that we brought all those same communities together with the exception of DSOs because they didn't really exist much at that point. And everybody said it was a great idea, but then nothing really happened, at least not immediately. But we're starting to see some of those things change. So we're excited to celebrate DANB's 75 years of certification of dental assistants. We're excited to be celebrating DICAM with DANB. Thank you, Laura, and thank you, Gwen, for coming in and sharing your expertise and your knowledge with us today. And we hope that our listeners benefit from all this great information. We will put contacts for the Dental Assisting National Board and the Dale Foundation in the resources in the show notes and on our website. And in closing, we thank you for sharing your time with us listening to this podcast. We hope that you will be a regular listener. We bring clarity and simplicity to compliance by navigating regulatory compliance to keep you on course. If you have questions, you can submit them by email to support@thecompliancedivas.com. And we hope that you join us again for a future episode.